The sun burned low over Jericho. The air shimmered with heat. Dust swirled through the narrow streets like ghostly smoke. Merchants shouted for attention. Children chased one another through the crowd. Donkeys kicked up the dirt as travelers hurried past. And there, just beyond the city gate, sat a man. A figure everyone knew, yet no one truly saw. His name was Bartimaeus, the blind beggar, the man who lived in endless night. Every morning he found his way to the same spot, the same patch of earth, the same stretch of road where the travelers passed. He listened to footsteps. He listened to coins drop into his worn-out bowl. He listened to life move on, without him. He could describe every sound of Jericho, but not a single color, not a single face. He knew laughter. He knew pity. He knew the sound of people avoiding him. And still, every day he whispered, "Maybe today something will change." Most days it didn't, until one afternoon the world around him trembled with noise. The crowd was different this time. It wasn't ordinary chatter. It was excitement. It was electricity. Bartimaeus turned his head toward the commotion. "What's happening?" he cried. A stranger answered, shouting above the crowd, "Jesus of Nazareth is passing by." That name pierced his darkness like a lightning bolt. He'd heard it before. Oh, yes. Stories of miracles drifting through the streets, the blind seeing, the lame walking, the dead breathing again. And now, the man of those stories was walking right in front of him. For a moment, his heart raced faster than his fear. This was it. This was his moment. But voices around him whispered, "Be quiet, Bartimaeus. Don't bother him." He clenched his fists. He could stay silent like always, or he could shout louder than his pain. He took a deep breath and screamed, "Jesus, Son of David, have mercy on me." The words tore through the air like a storm. People turned. Some laughed. Some scolded. But he didn't stop. He couldn't. He cried out again, "Son of David, have mercy on me." And somewhere in that crowd, Jesus stopped walking. The noise died. The road fell silent. Every heart seemed to hold its breath. "Call him," Jesus said. A man ran to Bartimaeus. "Cheer up," he told him. "Get up, he's calling you." The blind man threw off his cloak, the only thing he owned. It hit the dirt behind him as he stumbled forward, hands trembling, feet searching, eyes still blind, but his heart seeing something for the first time. He stood before Jesus. The crowd waited. The world paused. And then came the voice, calm, gentle, yet full of power. "What do you want me to do for you?" Bartimaeus swallowed. His voice shook. "Lord, I want to see." Jesus reached out his hand. A single touch. Warmth flooding through his face. Light breaking through darkness. And for the first time in his life, he saw. Colors, faces, tears, and the face of the one who gave him sight. Bartimaeus fell to his knees, sobbing, laughing, overwhelmed. Jesus smiled. "Your faith has made you well." The crowd erupted in awe. But Bartimaeus didn't look at them. His eyes were locked on Jesus. And when Jesus turned to leave Jericho, Bartimaeus followed. Not as a beggar, but as a man reborn. It wasn't the crowd that healed Bartimaeus. It wasn't even his shouting. It was the touch of Jesus. That one gentle, powerful touch. The moment skin met skin, darkness shattered like glass. It wasn't just light that entered his eyes. It was life that entered his soul. That touch rewrote his story. In an instant, years of pain, shame, and loneliness disappeared. Every unanswered question, every tear, every night he sat alone by the road, all of it met the mercy of Jesus in a single heartbeat. One touch, one moment, one Savior. Think about it. Jesus was surrounded by hundreds that day. Voices shouted from every side. Needs, pleas, questions. But he stopped for one voice. a blind beggar crying out from the dust. He didn't walk past him. He didn't wait for someone more important. He stopped for him. That's who Jesus is. He doesn't walk past broken people. He walks toward them. He hears your cry even when the world tries to quiet it. He sees you when no one else does. If he could stop for Bartimaeus, he can stop for you too. No pain is too deep. No past is too heavy. No darkness is too strong for his light to break through. Remember the crowd? They were the same people who told him to stay quiet, the same ones who said, "Don't bother Jesus." But the moment Jesus called him, those same voices changed. "Cheer up," they said. "He's calling you." The same people who try to silence your faith will one day witness your miracle. Because when Jesus speaks your name, no crowd, no noise, no rejection can keep him from reaching you. Sometimes God lets you face the crowd so that when he calls you out, everyone sees what grace really looks like. Bartimaeus' eyes opened, but something deeper happened that day. It wasn't just physical sight, it was revelation. He saw who Jesus really was. Not just a healer, not just a teacher, but the Son of David, the promised Messiah. While others saw a man from Nazareth, Bartimaeus believed in the Savior of the world. Faith saw what sight could not. When he could finally see, Jesus didn't tell him, "Go back home." He said, "Go. Your faith has made you well." But Bartimaeus didn't go back to his old life. He followed Jesus on the road. He could have returned to Jericho. He could have lived comfortably, telling stories of the day he was healed. But he didn't just want the miracle. He wanted the one who gave it. True healing always leads to following, because when you've seen the light, you can't go back to the dark. And maybe, right now, you've been sitting by your own road, waiting for something to change. You've prayed, you've cried, you've begged for a sign. Maybe this story is your whisper from heaven. Get up, he's calling you. Don't stay where you've been sitting. Take that first step toward Jesus, even if you can't see what's next. Because faith always starts with one move. Bartimaeus' story didn't end on that road. It began there. He became a living testimony, a walking story of mercy, a voice that said to everyone in Jericho, "I was blind, but now I see." Some say he never stopped telling people about that day. Some say his name was remembered so that his faith wouldn't be forgotten, because in a world full of noise, his cry still echoes, "Son of David, have mercy on me." And even now, that same Jesus still stops for every cry of faith. Coming up next, the emotional climax, the deeper miracle behind the touch, and what it means for every person still waiting in the dark. When Bartimaeus opened his eyes, he didn't just see colors and faces. He saw purpose. He saw calling. He saw grace. Because the real miracle wasn't that his eyes could finally see. It was that his heart now understood who he was. Chosen, loved, found. He'd been invisible his whole life. But that day, heaven looked right at him. And maybe that's the miracle you need most. Not just open eyes, but an awakened heart. Not just physical healing, but the kind that reaches the deepest part of you. Because sometimes we can see the world clearly and still be blind to hope. But one touch from Jesus can change what you see, how you see, and who you believe you are. Maybe you've been in a season that feels like blindness. You can't see what's next. You don't know where to go. You feel stuck on the roadside of life. But the same Jesus who walked through Jericho still walks your road today. He hears your cry in the middle of the noise. He stops for you, and he calls your name. You don't need to have it all figured out. You don't need to see clearly before you come. You just need to believe that he is who he says he is. Faith doesn't begin with sight. Sight begins with faith. And sometimes, the moment you decide to stand up, even before you see, that's when heaven starts moving toward you. After that day, Bartimaeus never went back to begging. He never sat by the road again. He followed Jesus all the way. He didn't need to ask for another miracle, because his whole life became one When light enters darkness, it doesn't just fix what's broken. It transforms it. The beggar became a believer. The forgotten became a follower. The blind man became a messenger of light. And his story still speaks. No matter how long you've been in the dark, you're never too far gone for one touch from Jesus. If you've been waiting for your moment, this could be it. Maybe it's not sight you need, but peace, or direction, or forgiveness, or the courage to hope again. Right now, just whisper in your heart, "Jesus, have mercy on me." Because even today, he still stops for that prayer. The sun went down that day in Jericho. Shadows stretched long across the road, but for Bartimaeus, it never got dark again. He had seen the face of light himself, and that light never left him. Years later, people still told the story. The blind man who saw again, the beggar who found his king, the cry that made heaven stand still, and every time someone whispered his name, hope stirred in another heart. Because it wasn't just his story, it was ours. All of us have our roads. All of us have our blindness. And all of us are waiting for that one touch, that one moment when Jesus says, "Come to me." And when he does, everything changes. Forever. If this story moved your heart, take a moment. Breathe it in. Because maybe, like Bartimaeus, your miracle starts when you dare to believe. Don't scroll away just yet. Let this light stay with you. And if this message touched you, share it with someone who needs hope today. You never know whose darkness might turn to light because of it. Subscribe to walk with us through more stories of faith, miracles, and moments when heaven meets earth, because one touch from Jesus can still open eyes, can still change lives. And maybe, today, it starts with yours.